Hello and welcome back. This is MC1 Gamer. Today I bring to you the second part of a two-part battle report from the Nagash End Times campaign series. The first one involved Krell attacking an abbey at the behest of Arkin the Black, and he was successful. And this one is the follow-up. Both of these are the Bretonnians against the vampire counts, and they're a precursor to Nagash actually returning. Nagash's presence is being felt. The rules for end times are in effect, but he has not returned to the physical world yet. And Arkin the Black is looking to make that happen. So in the first game, Krell was successful in attacking the abbey, and in this one, the Theodoric of Brionne is now looking to attack Krell's forces. But he actually sends them against Arkin the Black and Heinrich Kemmler, who are in another area nearby. And the first game could have carried over into this one with Victor, if it was a short enough game, being able to take any surviving units. But that game took the full length of the game. I believe it was 8 turns before it was able to be completed, and as a result, none of those reinforcements are going to apply to this particular game. In this game, there are some of the same rules, but some of them are also going to be a little bit different. So Theodoric's last charge, Anthony is going to be able to bring in a Bretonnian Lord, and that is his only requirement. It's again a 2,000-point game. Vampire counts have a couple of adjustments. Heinrich Kemmler must be part of the actual army. Arkin the Black is from one of the Mortarchs is involved here, but his points do not count towards the 2,000-point total. So yes, the vampire counts do have a little bit of a bonus. However, Arkin cannot cast any spells. His concentration is specifically dedicated towards maintaining the armies. So he is essentially this huge close combat specialist, but he's also a massive target. And if he goes down, if he dies, because he is required to be the general, this entire mission is a failure. And some of the other rules that come into play are deployment. Anthony is able to deploy the Bretonnians only in the triangular wedges on either side of his board. So let's go ahead and take a look a little bit more at some of the rules the Bretonnians are also bringing to bear. And hopefully this is the kind of thing that we'll actually see if there ever is a new Bretonnian book or becomes maybe standard, because some of them are pretty good. For the one, the Bretonnians have the actual general Theodoric has hatred against Arkin the Black, and he also has the armor-piercing special rules. The Knights Errant and Knights of the Realm can form lances that are 4 wide, which is phenomenal. They still get the full lance effect and all the benefits therein. In addition, Knights Errant and Knights of the Realm can stomp if they charged, if the unit still has 15 models in its formation, and that they're in the lance formation, but they can be in the lance formation again 4 wide, not 3. So that's great. So he's going to have some additional benefits that he might not normally have. So let's take we had to alternate our deployment, which kind of I think that kind of was a little bit of a disadvantage to the Bretonnians because he had to split up his forces. So let's take a look at the battlefield. First, here we see on the upper left we have a unit of Peg Knights, and there's a Trebuchet, and the first of 2 large lances. This one, again, being 4 wide. I believe this one, I'm not sure if this one has any special characters in it. Here is on his right side, you can see that he has his Lord's Lance. In this lance is where he has his Battle Standard Bearer and another Paladin, and of course his Lord. Also Trebuchet, and then there's Lord Flapian. And here's the vampire count. So I took a little bit more of a defensive army this time. I knew that I was the defender, where I was the attacker in the first one. On the left-hand side, I have 1 unit of direwolves. I have a 6-man strong unit of crypt horrors, my giant werewolves. The first of 2 mortis engines, a unit of 25 or 30, I forget. One unit. I have 2 units of zombies. One is 30 and one is 25. My Fel Pegasi, which are equivalent to Fel Bats. Standing in the back, in the center of all these units, is Arkin the Black, and then immediately to his right, you'll see another very large unit of skeletons. So this is about a 45, I think, or no, it was, I think 38 strong unit of skeletons. And in this unit is Heinrich Kemmler, my White King BSB, who has the Night Shroud, and I believe he also has the Iron Curse icon. Also, there is a level 3 Necromancer Lord, and this Necromancer has only got summoning spells from the Lore of Undeath. And I believe that Necromancer Lord also only has the Dispel Scroll. Another unit of Fel Pegasi, Fel Bats. The second of 2 Mortis Engines. This is where I believe is 25 strong zombie unit. Oh, and I should return back to the skeletons. The skeletons have the Screaming Banner. So any fear checks are going to be at 3 dice instead of 2, where you take the worst of the 3. You take it to the worst 2. And then off to my far right is another unit of dire wolves. So my intention would be to try and erase some of these flyers and fast movers up the sides or even up the middle between his lances. Try to get him out of position if he wants to try and take them out. But if I can get by them, then my intention is to go, of course, after the Trebs, while I can hunker down here with my regen capability from the 2 Mortis Engines and hopefully tar pit him with some of these zombies, while setting up potentially a countercharge if he goes ahead and he puts one of his lances into one of these. Make a countercharge with Arkin, who is, again, he is a close combat beast, but hopefully I can survive the trebuchets coming down upon him, and that double regen should help. I'm really within just about the minimum range, unless I roll absolutely horribly for both of these Mortis Engines. And you can see I have in my placeholder, my unit filler is the old Nagash model, which I still get a kick out of when I see. I have him in what I call the Statue of Liberty pose. So I decided that I would just make him a statue unit filler, and I will be unveiling, of course, the actual Nagash model at some point near the end of this series. So Vanguard, I move 1 unit of direwolves up. Just try and chaff up either Lord Flappy or his Lord Lance, and then my other unit. I know that he can fly right over this unit of direwolves. My hope is that if he ignores them, I can go right for the trebuchet, and if he tries to take them out, I'm just going to slow him down a little bit. Here are the spells. Now, Heinrich Kemmler is a lore master of vampires, so I have all of those vampiric spells, so that's what I chose. I figured he's a level 5, but I wanted to have a level 3 caster dedicated to the lore of Undeath, and these are the spells that I start out with. So I have my first spell where I can raise some infantry units, possibly boost it for monstrous infantry. The second of which, Khazar, is more of a direct damage spell, where I can get some bonus. It's kind of like a cheap Banshee Scream. It doesn't have some of the broken stuff of you screaming into and out of combat, but I can actually boost up some of my Raise the Dead counters for additional points in other castings. And then the level 5 one, which I think is the most powerful one here, which allows you to raise war machines potentially if you do the souped up version, or potentially large monsters. But the minimal version, which is only a 10 plus, you can get up to 65 points in characters, which could be a Necromancer, a Cairn Wraith, a White King, which phenomenal spell for only 10 plus. And here's the Bretonnians. This is what Anthony rolled up. He has Wizen's, Flock of Doom, Curse of Anarchy, and of course Savage Beast. So he was lucky enough to get Savage Beast in there. So turn 1 goes to the vampire counts because the Bretonnians kneel and pray. And here's the first thing I do is I roll my pulse, and I get a pretty good roll on both of them. So all the center units have double, except for one of the zombies. And of course, Arkin was able to get doubles for both, which I was thrilled with. I move up there's no charging, so I move up my Fel Pegs all the way up to the center. My hope is against to split the lances, and as the lances maybe come in, I can go and swoop out behind them and go after the pegs if my dogs don't make it. And I get an absolute monster phase. I have 3 casters. I channel, and I get. I think this is like 11 dice. First thing I do, of course, is I raise a unit of zombies to try to chaff up any charges that he brings in with either his lance or his pegs, and then I follow that up with a couple of castings of growing, not just zombies in this case, the new version as well as the ones on either other side, but also my skeletons, because Heinrich Kemmler he's also got Master of the Dark Arts, I believe it's called, so he can actually push the skeletons beyond the starting point in addition. So I really have a huge bus here of skeletons, again, and with the Screaming Banner, and of course with the Statue of Nagash. So, Bretonnians turn 1. The pegs charge the flank of the direwolves, and they get in there easily. And he moves up his I believe this was an errant unit, but his other 4 wide, and this is a huge unit of knights. So he's got it looks like 20 knights total in here. And then he moves Lord Flappy up. And he then attempts to cast with his single caster's prophetess, Wizen's Wild Form and Catastrophe. He miscasts. He rolls first spell phase he has of the game, and of course he rolls double 6s. I think he rolled 3 dice, which sucks. And I know the feeling of this bad luck. It's unfortunate, but of course this was pretty catastrophic. And not only does he miscast his prophetess gets sucked into the warp and takes like 6 knights with her. So this is his Lord's Lance. He's got plenty of knights left, certainly a lot of strength and power left, but this was absolutely this was very tough thing to happen in the first turn. And his Lord Lance did charge into the dogs to try and just clear the chaff again. So he launches the 2 rocks from his trebuchet. One scatters off, and one actually hits Arkin. Now, Arkin has 8 wounds. He has no save to speak of. I do have regen, which is a big deal, but he rolled a 1. The dogs are easily defeated by his Lord Lance, and the other unit of dogs are just wasted by his Peg Knights. Turn 2 vampire counts, and I decide I want to charge the zombies, so I fail. And I then move. I'm not in range for either of these Pegasi. I mean, he's got his trebuchets all the way at the far corners, which is very smart. So my Fellbat Pegasi swoop around. They're not within range to march now, so they're only moving up 10. So they move to try and now get into charge range from the following turn, which means his Trebs are going to have another chance to take out Arkin. And I move my the summoned zombie unit up to try and chaff up his knights. So, magic phase. Not a whole lot of dice, but I'm able to summon up a level 1 Necro. I'd already fleshed out the Dispel Scroll in an earlier phase, and I summon up a level 1 Necromancer. I'm able to choose which lore when I summon up this Necromancer without any magic items, and of course, Anthony says, you gotta pick Death. Of course, what if you get Purple Sun? So I roll it up, and I get Purple Sun. So, Purple Sun, baby. Bretonnians turn 2. His leftmost lance charges my zombies and easily makes it in. And Lord Flappy goes ahead and makes a charge attempt at the Cryptars, and again easily makes it in. And he moves up his Lord's Lance. And his pegs move out of the charge arc for Arkin or for the zombies, so I'm guessing he's going to try and get in behind or to the flank of Arkin. And he throws again a couple of rocks down on Arkin. One scatters off, one hits him straight on the head and does 3 wounds. And of course I failed my regen. So the zombies are all cut down to a man by the charge of the leftmost lance. And Lord Flappy, of course, he whiffs, and the Cryptars just rip him to shreds. So, Vampire counts turn 3. I charge the rightmost Fel Pegasi into his trebuchet, and then I look to make a charge with both my Cryptars and my zombies. But I do have terror when I go to charge him, and he fails his leadership roll, and the BSB is way far off on the right side. So that doesn't help him in the least. And of course, him failing, he flees, and then my follow-up charge with my Fel Pegasi is to then charge a fleeing unit, which then runs them right off the board. So within the matter of 2 turns, he has 2 completely catastrophic events that are just absolutely crippling him. And my failed charges for both my units, they move up maybe about 4 or so inches. And my Fel Pegasi make it into the rightmost Treb. And I fail charges with both the zombies and the Cryptars. So I reposition some of my zombies, and I attempt to scream also with my Mortis Engine, which fails to do any wounds on his Pegasi. And I move my recently summoned level 1 Necromancer to death who has Purple Sun into a position and gets Purple Sun off. So it goes right over his unit and doesn't kill off any characters, but drops the knights now down by 4. The Fell Pegs destroy the rightmost trebuchet. And Bretonnians turn 3, he needs to go for broke. He's got his Lord's Land, he still has a few guys in there, and he still has some options here if he can just get to Arkan. And then he moves his Pegasus, and he throws another rock, and so he takes off a bunch of the zombies. You know, he takes, the Cryptars take a wound, he loses a knight. Between charges and rank bonuses, he's got a couple of banners. We just kind of we talk. So vampire counts turn 4. I charge the left hand side Fel Pegasi into his last remaining treb, and I make the charge easily. And then I charge both the zombie unit that I had on the right hand side as well as the Mortis engine into his night bus. I'm hoping to get not only negate his extra rank, but also try to get some impact hits and, of course, a flank bonus. And I was able to get a bubble Van Hales down, and I throw down also a Gaze of Nagash, and I'm able to drop one of his, it's 2d6, I'm able to drop one of his Pegasi. And I try to throw down another summoning spell. I'm really trying to experiment here with the summoning, and obviously I'm doing it with no special characters. So, but this is not a real good indicator because his level 4 is gone. So I'm facing no challenges, just his raw dice, which I also have benefit of having more dice. So I throw down 5 dice against this summoning spell to try and get maybe I can get a Vargulf, and of course I total power it. So I throw down a Vargulf into the mix, but this was a miscast, and I roll up, I don't know if it was 7 or 8, and it was the template, but I did lose a bunch of zombies. So we get to the other big combat with his general, and he killing blows straight out one of my Cryptars, and he kills a few of my zombies. I do some impact hits, and it's still a tie. And I finish off the last of the trebuchet, so at least now I don't have to worry about rocks coming down from the sky and taking out Ark. And he repositions his pegs. So we go back to the combat here on with his lord, and he killing blows and does enough wounds to take out not only one full Cryptar but another, and I lose another zombie. So last turn, vampire counts turn 5. I decide he doesn't have that knight now in the back part, and my Mortis engine is stranded from the last combat, so I can see the corner of his lord, and I can get in there and maybe get either the lord or the BSB out, hopefully do some damage with some impact hits, so I charge them. And no other charges. I throw down Hellish Vigor. I figure, you know what, let's try and get some rerolls to wound. I think I tried for a Van Hels, but either I didn't get it off or I didn't have enough dice. And throughout the combat, you know, I lose some zombies. I think he may do a wound or so on the Cryptars, but the real big thing is he directs all his attacks against this Mortis engine, and it pops. I think it was Lord that did it. And of course, it's now turn 5. It's exploded. It's going to do tremendous damage. I think it was about a it was a 16-inch range. So that's pretty scary. And this is the aftermath. Of course, I lost the Mortis engine. I lose another Cryptar. I don't think he took any damage from any of these characters here with his ward save, because now a strength 5 hit, and with his armor saves. So it didn't really hurt him too much there. And being that it's bottom of turn 5, the game is over. So it is a victory. Yes, a victory to the vampire counts. I think that some serious misfortune befell Anthony and his Bretonnians, which does seem to be an occasional theme. But this was a fairly tough scenario. When I looked at it, I really thought that the Bretonnians were going to have a supreme advantage over the vampire counts, over what happened in the first game. Because in the first game, I really felt that even with my attacking, he was really hampered because he was limited with the number of how his character expenditure with his points was going to be. He had to take 3 casters, 2 damsels, and a prophetess, and he had to spread them out. In this case, he had very little limitation, but his deployment screwed him because he had to deploy in the corner wedges of the battlefield. Victory to the vampire counts. Thank you once again, Anthony, from the Sustainable Center for joining me in yet another game from this scenario. So we're gonna have more of these. I'm looking to do as many of these as I can. If I can get all 19 in, that would be great. And I really, thank you for checking out my videos. And if you like this and you want to keep following me, I have a lot of other things that I've got a bunch of other battle reports and campaigns and some other things that I've recorded recently. So please feel free to continue to follow me and subscribe if you're a newcomer and you're interested in checking out some of the other videos that I have coming down the pipe. Thank you very much and have a great day.